Read. It's good for you. Look, I know what you're thinking. Reading's boring. Reading's not enjoyable. There's nothing interesting to read. Well, bro, I was in the same position just like you a few years ago, especially when I was around 10 years old in primary school. Thankfully, after getting into the self-improvement habits, I've started reading things that actually interest me, especially those scientific books about sleeping. For example, Why We Sleep, Breath, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are like very self-improvement type books. But I'm so glad I've started reading them because the education I'm getting from them it's immaculate. It's sad because the school system ruined the idea of education and reading to the younger people. We now think, oh, reading's all round boring because we were forced to read old Macbeth that was so difficult to understand and had little relevance to our lives. But let me tell you that education is not bad. We shouldn't think of education as bad because of what school has taught us to think of it. Education is good, honestly. Expanding your knowledge, expanding your vocabulary, getting more information about the world around you is so good for you. And when I tell you, once you start reading, whatever interests you, trust me, you will love it. Whether it's fiction, non-fiction, whether you're reading for enjoyment, or whether you're reading for education. Plus, if you're reading for enjoyment, and this is a big plus, if you're reading for enjoyment, like a story for example, then you'll inevitably learn something new. And it could be very often, every time you read, whether it could be a new word, a fact, expanding your vocabulary, expanding your knowledge about that topic, whatever you're reading, about the sort of history, the time that the book was set in. And another massive bonus, when you read, it's like getting free education, aside from obviously buying the book. But if you've got a library near you, go ahead, go to that library, set up an account, whatever you need to do, and borrow those books from that library and read whatever interests you. Because not only will reading expand your knowledge, reading will also increase the fluency in speaking that language that you're reading in. And this can really increase your confidence in social situations. It can decrease that social awkwardness because then you won't have to stutter. You won't have to look for words because after reading for a while, you'll know a range of words to use. You'll know what good phrases to use in that specific situation. Make sure the key you take away from this video is to read what interests you. Whatever interests you, read it. Whether it's, science, like about sleeping, about breathing, whether you want to read about geography, about history, whether you want to read a story about slavery, whether you want to read about an adventure story, a criminal story, you are bound to learn new information from it and expand your knowledge and the information you hold. And that is priceless. Knowledge is power. Once you start reading, you can do this really great trick that I will share with you in the next video that will come out on Friday, that can really boost the amount of knowledge you get from reading, increase the amount of information you retain from reading that book. And the amount of information you can retain it's absolutely enormous. So remember, pick up a book that you're interested in and accept, adapt, and overcome.